Hey friends, welcome back. My name is Emily. I tutor the Abecedarians and young apprentices, so age 4 to 7. I've been doing this for 2 years now, and I'm going to share with you what we did this week for Cycle 2, Week 18, New Grammar, and then at the end I'll share what we did for review. I don't think I've shared this idea yet this year, so stick around for that. So grab your foundations guide, maybe your tutor planner, a cup of something warm. I don't know about you guys, but it's starting to warm up where I'm at, so I'm sorry if you can hear some noise, background noise. People are doing yard work, but I'm also curious to know how you like to watch these types of videos. For me, I have maybe like 2 or 3 different tutors that I'll watch like their whole full-length video because they always have really good ideas, and I'll link them in the description so you can check them out if you haven't. And then I'll usually search specifically just for like English and history ideas, which are more like just the short videos. But yeah, I'm just curious how you like to watch these types of videos. Because I also put timestamps in these videos. Is that helpful for you to be able to just skip to the different parts that you're interested in? I'm just curious. I want to know like how I can make these easier for you to watch. All right, so let's get into it. So first thing we do is geography. I have the maps already set out on the table. This week we were doing European countries again. So we were adding on to what we had learned last week. So first we located all the different places on the map. So for example, the first place we located was Italy. The children pointed to it and then we said, Italy, 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 3 times fast as we pointed to it and tapped on it. Then after we located all those spots, the kids picked up their Play-Doh containers I had put in front of them. Each one had 5 different little erasers in them. I had got these from, I want to say Michael's, maybe their dollar spot a long time ago. But I'll try and find something equivalent on Amazon if you're interested in finding cute tiny erasers for your kids. So those were the 5 that we used. So I said, put your heart on Italy. So they put their heart on Italy. Then for Austria, we used the sun because that one is in the mountains. So I said it was closest to the sun. Then for Hungary, we used a blue star. For Slovakia, we used the rainbow. And for Czechia, we used the heart. So after they had placed all the erasers down, they left them on the map. Then I said, pick up your eraser from Italy. And I asked them what eraser it was, just to check to make sure they were picking up the right one. And then after that, I taught them the end of the song, which we had started last week, to the tune of It's a Small World. And I will link that in the description so you can go look at the full song. So we sang through that song a few times, and so we kind of reviewed last week's work while learning this week's new grammar as well. Then as I was collecting up the maps, we just sang through the Latin song. I got that idea from Love Mrs. C, and that was really easy and saved a lot of time during new grammar. And then after that we did timelines, so I told the kids snack time, so they go get their snacks while I get my cards out. And as they're sitting down to eat their snacks, I'll say the name on the timeline card, like Cherokee Trail of Tears, and then I'll show the card to all of them while they're eating their snack, and they repeat after me. And then I'll put this one up on the board, and I'll do the same for all the cards and put them up on the board in order. So this week, after I did that, I played through the song, and I pointed to the timeline cards on the board as I played through the song. I used this little Bluetooth speaker in class. It's really handy, and the parents can hear it better in the back of the classroom than just using my phone. We also have these little pointers that look like fingers on the end of the stick. So usually the kids get to use those to point. But this week I switched it up a little because we've been doing the same thing all year. So what I did was I threw these mixed them up, threw them on the ground, and they each had to take turns coming up and picking them up and putting them back on the board in order. And then all the kids who were sitting eating snack got to say if they thought that it was in the correct order or not. And then at the end we played through the song one more time just to reinforce the song. For English, we did 2 different things this week. The first thing we did directly relates to what we did last year in Latin in Cycle 1 for these same terms. So that was just some hand motions. So for subject, we did a S for subject. Subject for possessive, we pulled our hands like this, like we were trying to grab something like candy, and we said possessive. We always say it in a funny voice like that. And then for indirect object, this was our object and we indirectly went to it. So indirect object. And for direct object, we slapped our hands down on top of it and said direct object. And then for object of the preposition, we take the object and stir it around in a circle like we're stirring up a cake or something fun like that. So object of the preposition. Then the second thing we did in class was like a call and response chant. I'll link the original video where I found it, but I'll tell you how it goes too so you can do it. This is what I've been doing at home with my kids to review it. They've really enjoyed this. It's fun. So I had the kids stand up for this part and we just kind of like stepped back and forth as we were saying it. So first I would say it and then they would repeat after me. It took a few times doing it for them to really get the hang of it because we don't do this much in the class. So it goes like this. I said there's 5 cases of nouns. 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 Subject, direct object, indirect object. Subject, direct object, indirect object. Object of the preposition possessive. Object of the preposition possessive. And so when it was their turn to do the chant, I kind of whispered it, and towards the end of us doing it a few times, I whispered it really quietly so they could barely hear what I was saying, and by the end of it they got the hang of it and it was really fun. For history, you can show this timeline card. This is card number 142. It shows a picture of Stalin and you can see his bushy mustache here. We're going to be using that in our hand motions for the song. So first I taught the kids the hand motions. I had them all stand in a line because at the end of the song we're going to link arms. So in 1945 we did 4-5 in 1945. For the League of Nations we put our fingers together like a link. League of Nations. Failed to prevent, we took our hands and pushed them down and back. So League of Nations, failed to prevent. World War II, American, we acted like we were pledging allegiance to the flag. For Roosevelt, we rowed our boat. We used our hands like we were rowing a boat. For British, we drank a cup of tea, British. And for Churchill, we made a cross with our arms for church. For Soviet, we did the ASL sign for Soviet, which is you're taking your hands like this on your hips and you push them in a few times. So, okay, here we go. Soviet. For Stalin, we made a mustache, Stalin. And for United Nations, we all linked arms in a line. So we went through that a few times doing the hand motions, and then the last time we listened through the song, the kids just marched around in a circle. They really had a lot of fun getting into the accent that the lady was singing with in the song, so you can really play that up with your kids too if you like. For science, Newton's third law of motion, we just completed the song that we've been doing, which is to the tune of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. I'll link in the description the full song so you can find it all the way from the first law to the third law. So this is how that part of the song went. Newton's third law of motion states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Newton's third law. So we sang through it a few times using those hand motions, and then towards the end we partnered up, so each child partnered with another child and they held hands like this and they pulled back and forth with each other's hands, and I made sure to tell them ahead of time to not get too crazy with it. We didn't want anybody to get hurt, but they had a lot of fun with that too. Then the last thing we did for new grammar was math. So we added on to the song we've been doing the past few weeks, which is to the tune of the Itsy Bitsy Spider. I made a video of the full song, so I'll link to that in the description if you want to check that out. But we did do hand motions to this. So for triangle, we made a triangle above our head like this. For bass, we put our arms straight out for bass, and for height, we put our arms straight up for height. And if you want, you can have them jump when they do that if there's a little extra energy that they need to expend. So for review this week, I kind of did a little bit of what I did last week, but I added on to it. So what we did last week was I handed out these copies of the Black Line Master of the map for this cycle. You can get this in the sandbox on CC Connected. I think they have it in every week of the sandbox. Although the beginning of the year, I think they were using the full world map, but I think by week 3 they were using this one. Anyway, you can find it, or you can just copy it out of your Foundations guide. So I had the kids tracing these because we're doing a map tracing challenge in our community this year. So they're really excited to get an ice cream party if they trace enough maps. So I had those maps available, and we also had blank paper available, and we had markers and crayons out on the table so the kids could draw or work on their maps if they wanted. And while they were doing that, they each took turns catching this ball. So this is just a beach ball from Dollar Tree. I've used a permanent marker to write all the different subjects on here. This one, if they get the question mark, we say it's a mystery, and they get to choose whichever subject they want. And a lot of them choose history if they get to choose. But anyway, so I would call the kid's name and toss it to them, and they'd catch it, and whatever subject was facing them when they caught it, that was the subject we reviewed. So they really enjoyed catching the ball, and they really enjoyed getting to choose their own subject. So that just kept it fun. I really enjoyed seeing what they like to draw. But yeah, so that was the end of week 18. I'll see you back for week 19. We took a little break in between, which worked out because my kids got sick, which is why this video is a little bit late. So hopefully, like I say, God willing, I'll see you back on week 19 for new grammar and review. See you then.